In this video, I wanted to talk to you very briefly about various different events in Unreal Engine, and more specifically, this event tick node, because understanding how this one is used in particular is will be very important to the performance of your projects. So in some of my other tutorials, you will have seen that I'll have mentioned things like begin play and maybe even like a collision event. But I haven't really covered event tick too closely. So when you fire begin play, this triggers whenever an actor is created and begins playing the game, and this only fires once. So anything sort of leading off of here will only trigger the one time. So this is good for like setting initial values, like for example, when we set up our health system. Where is it? We have it where at the beginning on begin play, the current player health gets set to the maximum player health. Begin play is good for setting things like that up. Similarly, this event here checks if something is overlapping our collision capsule. And again, this only fires once when we enter the collision zone. There is another corresponding event called end overlap that will trigger once if something leaves it. But the difference between those and an event tick is that an event tick will fire continuously every time a frame of video is put out. And what that means is that if your game is running at 60 frames per second, this is going to fire off 60 times every second. And similarly, if your game was running at 30 frames per second, it would fire 30 times per second. And if it's running at 120, it'd fire 120 times per second, etc. But I'll just quickly show you what an event tick can do, and I'll show you a demonstration on screen. So what I've got here is I've got a simple little setup that checks our character's velocity, and it checks if it's more than 0. So if it's true, it means that we're moving, and if it's false, it means we're not moving. So if I compile that and then come back to our game and press play, you will see that it is triggering all of these different print strings, all, one frame after the other. You can see over here that I've got it set to 60 frames per second. So if I... 1 second. Why can I not move? What did I do? Oh, it's because I unhooked the begin play. Wah. Right, 1 second. There we go. Right, so if I move now, you can see is moving, is showing, and then if I stop, is not moving, shows. Now, that worked perfectly fine, and it didn't throw up any errors or anything like that. However, firing off an event every single tick, every single frame, can be quite taxing on your game, especially if you're using it across various different blueprints all at the same time. In a project as small as what yours will be, it wouldn't really matter too much. However, if you think of like massive sort of projects that have a lot of assets, a lot of different blueprints, a lot of AI and things like that, and if they were all utilizing event ticks that were firing off continuously all the time, it'll start to like make the performance of your game really sluggish, and it just slow things down. So there are a couple of things that we can do to sort of alleviate this, or make it not as taxing. One of the first things that we can do, and what you'll probably see in a lot of tutorials that you follow online, is they'll recommend you to do something called a custom timer. So what this does is we'll create 2 custom events, and you just do that by right-clicking, typing custom event, and then you name it whatever you want. I've made 2 called, I've got a check if moving custom event, and then I've got an initialize check if moving timer. And what this first one does is it does a set timer by event. We plug in which event we want to set, and then we set how often we want it to fire off. I've got mine set to 0.5 seconds, which means that it's going to fire off every half second, so 2 times per second. And I have this looping box checked so that it will just continuously fire and fire. This is a lot more efficient than doing our event tick, because if you can imagine your game running at 60 or 120 frames, running it twice per second is better than running it 60 or 120 times per second. But when we make a custom timer like this event won't fire on its own. It won't do anything if I leave it the way it is. So what we have to do is we have to call it on begin play. So we come over to our begin play line, and I'm just going to have it at the end here. And I'm going to call initialize check if moving timer. So now, if I compile that and play, you'll see in the top left, it's firing, but it's not firing nearly as often as it was previously. And if I'm moving, we have is moving showing up. So that still works. But in my opinion, I believe there is a better way. There's probably a bit of contention around this. And I guess it depends on your use case for it. But instead of doing a timer like this, I'm just going to get rid of this. I prefer to do something with the event tick that involves these nodes called do once nodes. And as you can imagine, what these do is it makes it so that whatever follows it just fires off one time. So if I run this now, you'll see is not moving fires, and then is moving fires. But if you noticed, they're not firing anymore. They're not doing it because we've only told it to do once. But what you can do is, if you look here, there is a little reset pin. What we can do is a bit of a loop where at the end of one line, we can drag that and plug that in here. And similarly up here, we can drag that and put that in here. So you make this sort of like X shape. I personally like to tidy this up a little bit. It depends. You can leave it like this. It'll work the exact same. But if you double click on one of these lines, you'll add a little reroute node into it. A reroute. And I just like to tidy it up a little bit so that I can sort of follow along a little bit more easily with what's going on. So I like to do something a little bit like that. You can change it to be however you want. It's completely up to you, but making sure that you do it in a way where you can read it and understand it is really important. So if I compile that now, you'll see is not moving has fired, is moving has fired, and then if I let go, is not moving fired, and then if I move, is moving fired. So that's working pretty much exactly how I want it to work. It's only firing once when needed. We don't need to continuously check if we're moving. There may be situations where you do want to check something like that, but where possible, try avoid doing things repeatedly on a tick. Alternatively, instead of doing any of these where we've got like a timer or a do once setup, depending on what the function is that you're using, you may be able to bypass it by utilizing custom events or some of the basic input events that are already in. So for example, for this function, we're just we're checking whether or not our character is moving. But we already have code, or we already have blueprint nodes in here that check if we're able to move or not, and if we are, then we can apply movement. And that's over here. So what I've done as well is in the move setup, we can have it where when we start pressing the button, and to access these, you just press this little down arrow, and it sort of gives you access to a little bit more functionality. So what we can do is, if we've started pressing whatever the buttons are, so WASD, any of those, then as long as we're not dead, we'll be moving. And when we've completed that, so when we've let go of the keys, then we'll trigger is not moving. I'm just going to unhook something else that I've got. Printing. So now is moving, is not moving, is moving, is not moving. And doing it that way, we've completely bypassed needing to use the event tick.